Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum everybody. Hope you guys are well and welcome to this special free video course on the prophetic routine. This is part 1 of 3 videos I'm excited to share with you, all about how to basically live up to the routine of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. My name is Muhammad Faris. I'm the founder of ProductiveMuslim.com and author of the book The Productive Muslim, where faith meets productivity. I'm excited to be your host and instructor for this video and for the next 3 videos as well. First of all, I guess we're going to start off, but why are we talking about routines? Why are routines important? If you think about it, if you want to achieve any success in life, anything at all, think of any success in life, whether, career, health, relationship, work, school, anything you want to do in life, you need to have some kind of a routine that helps you get there. Think of these routines. I love this quote by Leo Guru, who's an advanced personal development expert. He says, "You're only as good as your daily routine." I love this quote because think about it. How many times, if you want to become a great writer, for example, you got to write every day. You want to become a great intellectual person, you got to read every day. You want to become a great chef, you got to cook every day. You want to become a great parent, you got to engage with your children every day. You want to become a great spouse, a great author, whatever you want to do, you need to make it part of your daily routine, whether it's physical or social or spiritual. So think about these routines are like the autopilot that helps you towards either your success or your failure. Because once the routine sticks, once it becomes part and parcel of who you are, then it becomes this just autopilot mode. You can just completely, almost not forget about it, but just engage in every single day. And over a lifetime, over 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, it defines who you are. It becomes part and parcel of who you are and leads you to success or failure. Now, small routines do add up to form big outcomes. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're trying to write a book. If you basically write about 100 words a day, 100 words is literally less than a paragraph. But let's say for some reason you could only write 100 words a day, then in 1 year, you would write about 30,000 words. That's pretty much a good, solid book. So think about the small routines that they add up. They add up over a lifetime. Think about any routine you want to do, anything, whether it's physical, spiritual, health. Just pause for a moment and ask yourself, if I did a little bit of this every single day, how much will I achieve in 6 months, in 3 months, in 1 year, in 2 years, in 10 years? It's incredible. Just think about the person who, for example, decides to feed one person a day, right? He just said, I'm going to feed one person a day and give food to them, per day. Over a year, that person will feed over 300 people. Over, let's say, 10 years, that person would feed over 300, more than almost 3,000 people. So it becomes this amazing, snowball effect just from small habits and routine which we implement every day. So I guess the question most of us ask is, okay, great. I know that routines are powerful. I understand routines are powerful, but which routines should I develop? Like, which one should I focus on? There's so much stuff I could focus on. And normally what we do when we ask this question is we Google it, right? We Google successful people and hey, what time does, Bill Gates wake up in the morning? What time does, Warren Buffett, have lunch? What time does, any successful person, man or woman of history, we ask ourselves, well, how did they do it? What are their habits and routines? And we try to find out and try to analyze them and try to see how we can implement the habits and routines in our lives. The challenge with that, to be honest, is that there is an inconvenient truth. And that is, most of these people, and with all due respect, most of them, they only share with us what they want to share, right? It's like pseudo-truth. It's like they share with us the good days. They share with us what happens when they're in a good mood, when things are going well for them. They don't share with us when they have a bad day. They don't share with us how they appear how much they're productive or how much they are successful when things don't go their way. So it's normal shared with us this pseudo-truth concept, this idea that we're only going to share what I want you to see, and I'm not going to share anything that I don't want you to see. So that in a way skews these results. It's you cannot really trust these habits and routines. Secondly, most of these routines and habits are pretty much one-dimensional, meaning they focus mainly either on work, their work routines, or on some kind of physical routines or maybe intellectual routine. We don't hear about spiritual routines. We don't hear about social routines. We don't hear about what is their routines at home with their families. Rarely is this shared. So it's very, one-dimensional. Thirdly, and again, this is something that if you reflect upon, most of the successful people that we Google, admire, and look up to, to, most of them are part of what is known as the 1%, meaning that they are, they had a leg up in the social ladder. They've grew up in countries or in societies where innovation, creativity is encouraged, and they had that base that helped them, get a leg up in society. Most of these people, if you drop them in the middle of a very impoverished nation, they probably will not be where they are today. And that by itself means that their habits and routines may not be applicable globally. It's just so hard to imagine some of them, adopting some of these habits and routines if you were living in some kind of a difficult, impoverished nation. So these three inconvenient truths makes it, again, I'm not saying you should not follow the routines, but it kind of puts a little blemish on that idea that, hey, if I just follow their routines, I'll be successful, because there are certain things we need to keep things into consideration. Now, what if you were to follow a routine of a man who has been successful, both in the worldly sense and in the spiritual sense? Somebody who did live the best version of himself, spiritually, physically, socially. Somebody who, his most intimate details was recorded by his family, his friends, his companions. Everyone was watching him. Somebody who's not just admired, but loved by billions of people across time until today. Somebody who really had a tough upbringing. He was, born an orphan. He struggled through his early years. He was poor most of his years, and he really struggled, but was able to achieve success. Somebody who did not live in some kind of in the centers of civilization. At that time was Roman Empire or the Byzantine Empire. Someone who basically struggled, in the Arabian deserts and grew up in the Arabian deserts, and still made huge impact in the world. Somebody who the Quran tells us is a role model that we should actually follow as an example of how we should behave and act and be a model and a pattern for us to follow in our lives. And of course, I'm speaking of none other than Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the final messenger of Islam. And Prophet Muhammad is one of those unique personalities where even people, by the account of Michael Hartz, who wrote the book The 100 rank of the most influential persons in history, he wrote that my choice of Muhammad to lead the list of the world's most influential persons may surprise some readers and may be questioned by others, but he was the only man in history who was supremely successful on both religious and secular levels. He had it all. He completed his message. He sprung this amazing faith that is followed by billions of people, as the fastest growing religion in the world. And he was successful across all levels. It's incredible just to think of a person who achieved that, and guess what? In just 23 years. Now, I know that possibly in the back of your mind, there are something playing up. You're saying, hey, hold on a second. He lived in a desert, for crying out loud. He didn't live in a modern society with modern issues. He didn't have to deal with traffic and deal with, with all the modern, civilization issues. But here's the thing: perhaps the fact that he was born in a desert, that he lived in a desert, is actually a pretty good way for us to, a pretty good reason for us to follow him. You know why? Sometimes when we have somebody in this purest form, the desert life is a very pure form in the sense that, not much distractions out there. It's just you really know the person by the person themselves. You don't see the influence of society and technology and buildings and all that stuff on the person. You're seeing the person as a human being. So living in the desert should not be seen as something that is against the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, but should be seen as something that is actually a model, in the sense of that if you were to bring ourselves back to basics, maybe that life in the desert is a model for us to think about. And think about it this way, honestly, these days, everything we're told that actually it's better for us to go back and start, implementing, going back to basics, like, eating organic food, eating locally grown food, trying to live simpler lives, trying to remove distractions from our lives. Almost most of the self-help and most of the health advisory out there right now is all about cutting down, all about minimalistic lifestyle, all about just living this pure form where you're connected to nature and not being overwhelmed. Now, I have to make a point here as well that Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, did not live like a nomad. So he was not like purely living in the desert, meaning that he was moving from camp to camp and tent to tent. He did live in cities. He did live in Mecca, which was kind of the hub, the New York of that time. Even later on, he moved to Medina, which is another city, and where there was at least 100,000 people living in Medina, around Medina, and also in Mecca. So he did live in a city life, if you were to think about a city life. It's just that the city life was in the middle of the desert, and I think there's a lot we can learn from him. Now, the second excuse I might hear you say, well, it's 1400 years ago. Things have changed, right? We have got Facebook now, got technology now. And to be honest with you, again, sometimes we tend to undermine, think that people who live in the past, there's nothing we can learn from them. And that's far from the truth. There's so much we can learn from people, especially someone like Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who the Quran told us he's a model for humanity. He's a model person for humanity to follow. And if he's a model for humanity, it means it's till the end of time. So there is a lot we can learn, even as 1400 years ago. And as we go through his daily routine, you'd notice that, there's actually a lot I can learn, and there's a lot I can implement, especially given that the results he achieved in his life. Again, the results speak for themselves. If there was no results, if Prophet Muhammad's message did not failed for some reason, then yes, maybe you can say that the results speak for themselves. But now you can see he's successful, and anyone who's smart enough will realize it's very, very important to think and to think like successful people, and to follow the habits of successful people. That's how this whole thing works. Well, the last excuse I can hear is, well, okay, he's special, he's a prophet, I'm not, I'm just a random Joe blog. Why should I follow this special man who had divine intervention, and he was beloved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by God, and he was getting revelation? Well, again, let's think about that. The fact that he was special should not deter us from following him. If anything, we should also be encouraged. We should think, wow, that means that everything he did, everything he said, every way he lived was actually divine inspired. So if you were to look for a blueprint to live the best version of yourself, would you look for a blueprint at a person who probably is not divine inspired, or look at somebody who, actually is divine inspired, someone who's actually special, someone you actually look up to and say, yes, that's the person I want to follow, that's the model I want to follow. Now, Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, when he said that he was sent to perfect character, perfect manners. So he gave us he said, I'm living the best version of you. So he is the model for us. So think about that, and let's start exploring basically what is a typical day in the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now, we will be exploring his typical day during the Medina period. Means that's the second half of his life. The second half of his message, where after 10 years of persecution in Mecca, he moved to Medina, to migrate to Medina, and things were relatively safer. Yes, there were some battles here and there, but things were safer in Medina. So we can see a typical day in the life of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when things are good. It's not a state of emergency or things were where he was persecuted. He was saying things were relatively safe, and that will give you an idea of what would his typical day look like during such days. So before I continue, I want to tell you that this is just part one of a free 3-day course. Today's day one. This is part one, and I'm going to share with you what part one is about in a minute. But if you want parts 2 and 3, just sign up for the free course below. Just click on the button, sign up for the free course, and you'll get parts 2 and parts 3. If you do not sign up for parts 2 and parts 3, you will not get those 2 parts, basically. So it's very simple. It's a free course on the Prophet Muhammad's peace be upon him's routine, talking about practical ways, not just going through his routine, but practical ways of implementing his routine in our daily life. So I hope you all register, and tell your family and friends to register as well. So what is covered in this course? Well, part one, which is today, is all about the morning routine of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This is like my favorite part, and I'm sharing it up front here. You don't have to sign up to watch this. I'm going to make sure that is at least, if you for some reason do not decide not to sign up for parts 2 and parts 3, no problem. At least you go through part 1, which is the morning routine of Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now, parts 2 and parts 3 are all about the habits and routines he had throughout his day, and part 3 is the evening routine of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, plus how to implement his habits and routines in your life. So it's going to be really, really practical. This is not theology, this is not history, this is not a religious lesson. This is a productivity class all about understanding the habits and routines of the most influential man in history, breaking it down for you so that you can go ahead and implement this in your daily life and achieve the success and live the best version of yourself, spiritually, physically, socially. Alrighty, so let's get started with the morning routine of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And I want you to, just close your eyes And just imagine for a moment that it's dawn, right? So it's those early hours before sunrise. And let's zoom in into the house of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This is an artist 3D rendition of the house of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So he would be lying down on this, you can see this kind of leather type of bedding, and he would be lying down. He probably been up all night praying, and he probably just taking that a little bit of a quick nap or a quick relax, just quick way of resting before the dawn prayers. And you would hear this beautiful call to prayer by his African friend Bilal radiallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with him, who would call out to the entire city of Medina for the dawn prayers. The Prophet, peace be upon him, would open his eyes, and then the first thing he would do is that he would reach out and he would grab something called a siwak. A siwak is like a natural, organic toothbrush, you can call it. It's made from a root of a tree. And he would, first of all, clean his mouth with it. And then he would utter the first words, which would be saying, in Arabic it says, Alhamdulillah alladhi ahyana ba'dama amatanu ilayhi nushur, that praise be to God who gave us life after giving us death, and to him we shall belong. And I want you to pause here. Just imagine his first few actions: opening his eyes, grabbing this organic toothbrush, and then saying, praise be to God who gave us life after death. He's almost like saying that, I've been given another day, another life, right? People know the whole idea of carpe diem. You only have one day to live. The idea that he had one day, that this is the day he was given life. It's almost like you got your breathed soul into you. That by itself is powerful. This whole notion that today you've been given another chance to live, that by itself is very, very powerful. So he would get up. Sometimes he would, perform ablution, preparing himself for prayers, and then somebody would just, he would probably, pray some optional prayers in his home, and he'd probably lie down on his right side, or he would lie down next to his wife and just, have those quiet moments with his wife, and then after that, he would, his companion, the caller to prayer, Bilal, would come to his home, knock on his door, and says, pray, O Prophet of God. Again, trying to, and tell him that the people have gathered for congregation. Now, the Prophet's house was attached to the mosque, so he would, basically exit his home and basically enter the mosque. And he would exit his home with his left foot and then enter the mosque with his right foot. Again, and I'm sharing this with you to show you the intimate detail that is covered about his life. People are noticing which foot he was putting out first. And I think that's just that level of detail you don't hear about anybody else in history. So he would leave his house, he would say a supplication when he leaves the house, he would say another supplication as he enters the mosque. And you notice this very, very often. The Prophet, peace be upon him, you'd always, through every transition, whether it's, using the washrooms, whether it's, of course, in those times it was in washrooms, it was in the open field, but if he used to need to fulfill his need, if he used to eat, if he used to sit down, stand up, when he's with his people, when he would put on clothes, take off clothes, through all these transitions, he would always have a supplication. And there's a whole book that captured all these supplications together called The Fortress of the Muslim. If some of you are interested to find out about it, you can find about it. And this is powerful. Again, the fact that he was conscious spiritually through every transition in his life, through every moment of waking up, from every step he used to do, that by itself was very, very powerful. So the Prophet, peace be upon him, would enter the mosque and he would lead the prayers with his companions. He would sit, and then after the prayers, he would sit quietly. Again, he remember God. He will, do some supplications, and then he would turn around and face his congregation. And that's when he has his early morning, just like a little quick chat in the morning. He would ask them about how they are, and has seen a dream last night. He would perhaps sometimes even, ask about, he would share a dream he had the night before. He would sometimes, see someone who's missing. He would ask about them. Hey, where's so-and-so? So he was very, very conscientious about people around him and the congregation around him. And he would really show that he cared. And people were just, just enthralled by this, that the attention he give the people around him. He would sit in the mosque until sunrise. After sunrise, he would go inside his home. He would greet his whole family. He would ask about them. He would pray for them. And then he would say, do you have anything to eat? And again, this was how tough life was. Some days the Prophet's family would say, actually, we don't have anything to eat today, not even a date. He would say, okay, cool, I'm fasting, right? He was not too stressed about things. He's like, okay, I'm fasting then. If I doesn't eat, I'm fasting then. And that's his dawn till sunrise. So you might think, okay, great. What does this mean for me? Again, like, what does this habit and routine mean for me? Let us break down some of the key lessons from the Prophet's morning routine. Number one, he woke up early, right? And again, if you look at the history, the most successful people of history, man, woman, any part of the world, that is a common feature, that they all woke up early. He woke up before dawn, and sometimes he would be up all night praying. And we'll talk about his nighttime routine in day 3. But he woke up early. That's the key lesson number 1. Number 2, he protected his first hours. You don't see him rushing, doing anything else. And I want us to reflect back on how, unfortunately, our first minutes, hours are hijacked by our phones and emails and social media. He protected his first hours. You can imagine him just sitting up, remembering God, being grateful, spending time with his family, getting up and praying. You can just tell that he was nurturing himself, nurturing his relationships. He was not sort of, busy or stressed about things. He really protected his first minutes and hours. Thirdly, he was grateful. The first words he uttered was Alhamdulillah, which means praise be to God. I'm thankful to God for giving me a life. Just that he was grateful. And nowadays, the research about gratefulness and expressing gratitude in the morning and how powerful that is to improve your mood for the rest of the day. Those things are now studied and researched and powerful in people's lives. And he nurtured himself, right? From cleaning his mouth to getting ready to spending time in prayer and supplication to spending time with his congregation and family. He nurtured himself and others. Again, he was not, you don't see him stressed. Compare this to our mornings, how stressful they are, how sometimes we find that we are all over the place. Now, again, you might think, well, hey, hold on a second. He didn't have to drop kids to school, or he didn't have these, busy modern day demands. But again, I challenge you to think about these key lessons and think, well, is there any of this that I can implement? And here are some practical tips for you to make sure you can implement them. Number 1, early rising starts the night before. If you really want to wake up early, and there's lots, we have a whole course on waking up early, but if you really want to wake up early, then it really starts the night before. For you to prepare early, to sleep early, for you to, turn off that TV and really prioritize sleeping as an important factor for your health. That's how you wake up early. If you stay up till 1 in the morning expecting to wake up at 5 in the morning, you're really pushing yourself too hard. You need to think about, how can I rearrange my nighttime routine so that I can be able to be an early riser and make the most of those early hours. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has a beautiful saying that says that the early hours are blessed for my nation. There's this blessing in the early hours. Again, ask any productivity guru. He'll tell you the most important hours of your day are your mornings. If you take care of your mornings, you'll be successful the rest of the day. So this is not something that is new, but it's something that's worth remembering, realizing that the most influential man in history woke up early. Secondly, if you want to not be distracted and really protect your first hour, use a real alarm. Meaning that forget these phones which basically tempt you to then check your emails and WhatsApps and Facebooks and everything else. Use an actual real alarm, a proper, those old school alarms that ring really badly. If you have kids, I know some of you might have kids, I don't want to put an alarm that might wake them up. Well, use some of these newer wearable technology like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, or some of these wearable technology where you can wear them on your wrist and they have a silent alarm. So they just sort of buzz on your wrist to wake you up. Whatever it is, use a real alarm instead of your phone. Get your phone in a different room, hide it basically so you don't have to check it first thing in the morning. Now, this might seem like a simple thing, but again, when we check our phones first thing in the morning, basically, we are allowing the outside world, we're allowing all the stresses, the news, the our emails, our bosses to basically hijack the most important hours of our day. Because guess what? You know the feeling. You wake up, you check your email, check your messages, and you see something that disturbs you, annoys you, even excites you, and the rest of your morning you're just rushed and stressed and worried about it. Instead, if you didn't check it for a couple of hours and then you check it, at least those first few hours you're protecting yourself, you're protecting your brain, you're protecting your focus, and that's very powerful. Number 3, when your feet touch the floor, be grateful. I mean, this is a habit that you want to practice. This is a way for you to physically remember to be grateful. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has a beautiful saying that says that if you wake up in the morning and you're healthy in your body and you have a roof and you're safe in your home and you have food for that just one day, then it's as if you've got the whole world under your feet. And think about it. For that one day, if you have your health, you have shelter, and safety and shelter, and you have food, pretty much you don't need anything else. You have the whole world under your feet. So if you really want to just remember this, then when your feet touch the floor, be grateful. As soon as your feet touch the floor, be grateful, and just have that notion, so you can say the words the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which is Alhamdulillah alladhi ahyana ba'da ma amatana ilayhi nushur. Praise be to God who gave us life after death, and to him we shall return. Or any other form of gratefulness. Show gratitude, and you'll see the benefit of this one notion in your head, how it will impact the rest of your mood. Especially if you combine this with not checking your phone in the morning, you'll have a great start to your day. Start your day with prayers, with recitation of Quran, with remembering God. Start your day with just focusing. Again, today we have a lot of research about the importance of meditation, the importance of mindfulness, the importance of spending quality time just with yourself, with your thoughts. And here Prophet Muhammad is giving us a blueprint through prayers, through recitations, through remembering God. These are things to experience. It's not something you want to rush through. It's not something you want to just do and get out of the way. It's to experience. And if you block half an hour to 45 minutes to an hour maximum doing these things, you'd feel what's called barakah. Barakah is this blessing, this multiply effect happens in your day. You'll feel the blessing of the rest of your day. 5, spend quality time with your loved ones. Really carve out time in the mornings. And again, that's why early rising becomes powerful. When you wake up early and you can spend that quality time with your spouse, that quality time with your parents, that quality time with your kids, your quality time, even if you get to work early, spend quality time with some of your colleagues who are early there as well. And it's amazing the bonding that happens when you're just those fresh hours, you reset, all those emotions you had the night before, the issues you had the night before, you're spending quality time with your loved ones. It's really, really powerful. Maybe if you don't have people living with you, maybe it's a good time to call some of your loved ones and speak to them and have that conversation in the early hours. And finally, try to fast. The Prophet, peace be upon him, recommended, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, recommended fasting once a week, or twice a week at least, on Mondays and Thursdays. He also, if you can't do that, you can fast at least 3 days a month. So you can pick up any day, 3 days of the month. There are certain recommended days in Islamic in tradition, the 13th, 14th, 15th of the Islamic calendar month. But again, you can fast Mondays and Thursdays. You can fast 3 days a month, but get in the habit of fasting. Fasting has this amazing, powerful ability to reset your mood, reset your health, reset your physical well-being, and it just gets you in this amazing, incredible sort of spiritual mode as well. So these are practical tips just from the morning routine of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So you see how we're going to be breaking this down for you. We're gonna go through his daily routine and so really trying to pick up those relevant points that we can implement in daily life. And these are not hard. I'm sure you can, if you agree with me that this is not impossible. These are practical things that you can implement in your life. So I want you to share in the comments what did you learn today, and what will you implement from today's video course. And I would love for you to join for parts 2 and parts 3. This is a fascinating topic. Again, you're learning the habits and routine of the most successful man in history, the most influential man in history, a man who's loved by over 1 billion people today. This is powerful. So please, sign up for parts 2 and parts 3. Share with your friends, Muslim, non-Muslim, anyone who we wanted to share this amazing routine. Share with your friends, let them learn these habits and routines. Perhaps they'll start implementing that and basically live the best version of themselves. See you tomorrow with part 2 of this course.